In icy seas, a people set sail towards the unknown. The Vikings, with their courage and spirit of exploration, managed to conquer not only the European continent, but also distant lands. So what were these relentless explorers seeking? New lands, riches, or the mystery of the unknown? What drove them to embark on these endless voyages? Now, let's dive into the captivating story of the Vikings' exploration of the dark waters. The Vikings were not only warriors, but also exceptional seafarers. Every new land they set sail for enhanced both their strength and their knowledge. They aimed to do more than just raid the coasts of Western Europe. They sought to explore and settle. By the 9th century, they reached Iceland and then Greenland, turning these icy lands into new cornerstones of the Viking world. However, these voyages were not easy. Gliding through the harsh waves of the Atlantic Ocean with small wooden ships required not just skill, but also faith. The Vikings' explorations did not always go as planned. These long journeys faced them with not only unknown lands, but also deadly dangers and mysterious occurrences. In 986, when Eric the Red set sail for Greenland with 25 ships, only 14 reached their destination. Fierce storms, frightening sea currents, and unseen perils left the Viking sailors desperate. The remaining ships were lost one by one in the icy northern seas. These disappearances combined with both real dangers and the legends that spread among the sailors. Sailors believed that sudden dense fogs and mysterious lights during their voyages were omens from the gods. They thought these signs reflected the anger of the sea god Aegir. The wrath of the gods often caused discord among the crew and tested their spirits. Scandinavian legends frequently spoke of ghost ships. It was believed that these ships carried the souls of Vikings lost at sea. The crew of sunken ships would return with the waves, watching the living in eerie silence. For the Vikings, such supernatural events were seen as divine tests. The misfortunes they encountered were often attempted to be alleviated by sacrifices or prayers to the gods. However, the mysteries faced during the explorations were not limited to natural occurrences alone. Suddenly, changing weather conditions while approaching Greenland were among the most challenging parts of the journey. Ships often strayed from their course and were dragged into unknown areas while trying to navigate waters filled with icebergs. The crew, under Eric the Red's leadership, sought refuge in their gods to survive these frightening conditions. But for some, these efforts were not enough. For the Vikings who managed to survive these harsh conditions, reaching Greenland was a great victory. Yet behind this victory lay the shadow of lost comrades, sunken ships, and mysterious events. Despite knowing that such dangers were part of their voyages, Viking sailors faced new unknowns with each journey. The Viking exploration journeys were not as glamorous as they appeared from the outside. Yes, there was the promise of new lands, riches, and adventure, but there were also months, perhaps years, of perilous waiting. One of the greatest challenges for the crew was the internal unrest that arose during these prolonged expeditions. Being surrounded by the same sea, the same wind, and the same faces every day tested their patience. The depletion of food and fresh water, diseases, and harsh natural conditions led to tensions among the Vikings. Leadership aboard many ships was considered crucial for keeping the crew together. Famous Viking leaders like Eric the Red and Leif Erikson managed to hold their crews together not only with strength, but also with smart leadership. Disputes that arose during the voyage often required tough decisions. As resources dwindled, feelings of unfairness among crew members would surface. Debates would ensue over who received more water or food, and who had more time to rest. To prevent such tensions from escalating, leaders had to make quick and fair decisions. According to some sources, Viking crews organized rituals to maintain mental resilience during long explorations. Drawing inspiration from Norse mythology, they prayed to the gods and sometimes made sacrifices. Gaining the support of sea and wind gods helped calm their restless spirits. However, success was not always guaranteed. Distrust among crew members sometimes led to the disbandment of the crew. In such cases, smaller groups would leave the ship or part ways at the next port. A similar division during the Greenland expedition led to slowed explorations and the failure of some Viking settlements. Nevertheless, despite the internal unrest, the Vikings knew how to unite around a common purpose. The allure of unknown lands tested their courage and resilience. The dark face of the sea brought not only external dangers, but also internal struggles. When the explorations were completed, a whole new life began for the Vikings. Life in settlements like Greenland and Iceland quickly took shape right after the explorations. The Vikings began to engage in agriculture, raise livestock, and establish settled communities in these new lands. However, these lands were not always welcoming. The climate conditions challenged the Vikings' agricultural and settled lifestyles. Still, the Viking communities in Greenland managed to sustain their presence for many years, but the explorations did not end there. One of the Vikings' greatest dreams was to reach lands further west across the Atlantic. Vinland, which we know today as North America, was one of the final points of these great explorations. However, these lands were also filled with dangers. Conflicts with the local population made it difficult for the Vikings to maintain a presence in Vinland, and the lands could not become a permanent settlement. These bold Viking explorations placed them among the greatest explorers in history. So what happened after Vinland? Where did the Vikings plan to go next? More secrets and unknown adventures await you in the next video. Get ready to delve even deeper into the world of the Vikings.